Excellence. Manufactured in Mexico. It's way cheaper that way.
Oh. Wow. Still get mine from China.
Mm.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, sir.
Goodbye, children.
I mean, the same 12-year-olds that make my shoe.
Mm.
Good enough for my shoes.
Yep.
Good enough for.
And you can tell the quality of a shoe. But you can tell whether the 8-year-olds or the 12-year-olds have put them together.
My God! Stop it!
Hi, Megan.
Hello.
We're trying to get on a rail, but it's Tessa's fault today.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's always Tessa's fault. It can't be our fault.
It usually is
It
Tessa's
certainly
fault.
cannot be our fault.
It usually is Tessa's fault. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm Philip.
I'm Tommy.
And this is RCX Unfiltered.
Mm-hmm.
Tess is behind the camera, as always, causing trouble. Rebel rouser. Trying to figure out what mischief she can put into the world.
I've tried so hard.
And in the end, it doesn't
Doesn't
even matter.
That's nope. It doesn't even matter.
Yes, Brian, we are off the rails. We decided to leave the rails at home tonight. And yeah, here we are. Whee!
We're gonna leave the rails for our other show.
Are we going to talk about that?
Yeah, we'll talk
Oh,
about
okay.
it tonight.
All right. I didn't know if that was a secret or if
No.
we were going to talk about it.
No,
Okay,
no,
cool.
we'll talk about it.
Cool.
Oh, we're gonna do a rails for this show too, but that is also waiting on Tess.
Mm.
You're the one supposed to be putting a show together that you said that we were going to follow.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. I need to write that down.
Is that going to be our next week's Thanksgiving
No, it's
special?
not.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not.
Ooh, a Thanksgiving special. We should do the Peanuts dance. We need somebody with a piano to come in and we'd be like,
Tess, can you do the Peanuts dance next week for Thanksgiving?
I learned it just for you.
Well, I mean, scripted is such a harsh word, Bill.
yeah.
We're going to have topics. How about that? That's what we're going to. So Tommy and I are currently working on a podcast.
Yep.
Currently working on that.
And we just started talking about it 10-ish years ago.
Right.
We just started talking about
We
it.
just started talking about 10 years ago. Right. But we're finally going to get around to doing it at the beginning of the year. But we're putting everything together. So, right, scripted's not the right word, but having we're going to have
like we'll
topics.
have topics. We'll have themed episodes where all we talk about is like this one thing. And I have an idea of what I want our first episode.
Well, we're doing the first episode because I've been wanting to do that for years.
We talked about it before.
So we know what our first episode is going to be.
Yeah. So it's, oh God, I can't wait. It's going to be so
Because it's going to be a great episode that it's going to seem mean, but it's not.
No, and it will continue like our,
Hey, Rachel.
we want to be positive.
Right.
We love comics and we love everything comic adjacent. And there's so much negativity in the world that we want to continue being positive. So one of the things is we're going to take things that are typically said negatively
About the comics.
or the
industry.
and
Or the industry.
flip it around and be like, actually, here's a positive.
Or actually, here's where they're wrong.
Yeah, here's why you're wrong, negative guy.
Right. And here's why. And lay it out.
Yep.
Remember, I don't do much without facts.
Yeah.
So I have facts
He will have the
and
data.
receipts. That's right.
Yeah.
So yes, we will be bringing that to the forefront.
Yeah.
So we'll have a new background. It'll be a different setting. Yeah. It'll be a completely different
Might have
setting.
a couch. Yeah, we haven't
Yeah.
decided yet.
Yeah.
But
It'll be pre-recorded.
it will.
No live. This
it
will
won't
still
be
be our
live.
live stuff.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
we'll probably have a Q&A section. I've already decided to do a
Mhm.
different like email address just for the
Okay.
podcast and stuff
All right, cool. Cool.
and stuff. Yeah, when we sit down and talk more, I've got a
Yeah, we talked about this Saturday for like, I don't know, half hour or so.
for 10 years. For
10
years. So we thought about it getting another hour on Saturday.
Yeah. So we'll nail all the details down between now and the end of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know. We were talking about like we're going to Pittsburgh in February for Comics Pro. We were talking about like maybe doing it after that. But I think maybe
Before
that.
Yeah.
So that we can do an episode about Comics
Comics
Pro.
Pro. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of, I was sitting there thinking we'll probably start before. I was thinking that the other day.
Yep.
Because we may even do one at Comics Pro.
So here's what I like about our dynamic. We have the same thoughts, just independently of each other. And then every once in a while we're like, oh yeah, I was thinking that too.
You like
So-
bump brains.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Happens a lot. Happens a lot. Yeah.
And then Tess may or may not be there. Tess or Tess.
Sure.
Tess or Tess may or may not be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might just be us. We haven't decided. We don't really
Whoa,
know.
it's no, it has nothing to do with where we've decided.
That's fair.
No.
That is fair. Yeah.
Remember, this is all about me.
Right.
Apologies. I forgot. I thought I was the main character today.
No.
What a fool I am.
It's like that. It's like the episode. This was one of my favorite things in the third season of Ted Lasso. It was
Mhm.
like when Roy and Jamie went to Kaylee and said, "We're going to let you decide who you pick between us." And she goes, "Oh, I get to decide." And
Oh, really?
That was great. Oh, really? You're letting me pick who I? It was great. Yeah.
Oh,
That was
God.
a great scene.
Roy is the best.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
Roy.
Roy's my spirit animal.
Yeah.
He really is.
I can't really. I want to quote Roy right now,
No, you
but
can't. You can't.
I can't.
Yeah. You can't. Yeah. Not here.
Yeah.
Technically,
No.
no. Oh, wow. Yes. But we will have that up at the beginning of the year.
Yep.
New name, new background.
I have
We won't
to.
have new names. We'll have the same name.
So this Saturday I'm gonna be doing the Virginia Comic Con out by the Raceway, and I've been nonstop pricing books for the last few weeks. And I guess after the con is over, my job will then be to make space in the back room so that we have a set to do this podcast. We'll see how it goes.
I can't imagine any of our shows would ever talk about Jean Grey's death.
Jean Grey, who's she? Not familiar.
I mean, if we ever had a show that where we talked about like death of characters, we would actually talk about the ones that was important. There's only a handful.
Uncle Ben,
Right.
Gwen Stacy,
Bruce's family,
yeah,
parents.
the Waynes. No one's ever really talked about that,
No,
especially in movies. No one's ever really put it on film. 73 times. Why did you say that name?
But yeah, we wouldn't. Yeah. We wouldn't talk about that at all.
No.
But yeah, we have that coming, and we'll have a Q&A section. And since it's pre-recorded, Tess will probably have
I
some
will
part in
probably
it.
be saying things.
Yeah,
Sure, she will be saying something.
I'm really excited. Like we're not kidding. We've literally been talking about
We
this
have.
for at minimum a decade, probably longer.
It's probably been longer.
Yeah,
than
I think
that.
it's been more like 15 years.
It's
honestly.
probably been way longer
Yeah,
than that. But it's finally happening. It's finally coming together.
Yeah.
Tess will be special commentator.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Special editorial note by
we're talking about like building an entire set in the back room.
Yep.
For us to like have like backgrounds that are changeable and stuff. So I'm excited about it for a lot of different reasons. But I don't know if you guys know this, but Philip and I can talk at length about anything.
Sometimes about nothing.
A lot of times about nothing. Yeah.
Poor Jacqueline.
Yeah. But they're every time they're here, like on a day where like they're not supposed to be here, like Saturday, they were here, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2
Yeah,
hours.
something like that. Yeah.
But like at the 15-minute mark, Jacqueline's like, okay, I'm ready to go. And we're just like, okay, cool.
Okay, cool.
2 hours later, she's like, I need a lunch now.
Yeah, but do you mean it?
Yeah, I do feel bad for her often.
She puts up with a lot. But you can't feel but so bad because she chose to marry me.
What a fool.
Right? Right? That's on her. Like, I had nothing to do with that. At all. Like, at all.
Oh my god.
I mean,
And as far as weddings go, I wouldn't know. Every chance I can bring it up, I'm going to bring it up.
fair. That's fair. Hey, but at least we told you.
Yeah,
I mean, it was after the fact, but we told you.
They were like, oh, yeah, over the weekend we got married in West Virginia. And I was like, what? What?
You know, but there's still people I've never told.
Well, they're not important. It's fine. Don't worry about them.
Like, my mom still doesn't know.
Well, I mean, I can run home and grab the Ouija board and we can tell her.
That's all right. We missed the Halloween special already.
Oh no.
Yeah.
You gotta
Wait,
for
when
next
is Day of the Dead? Oh, we missed that too.
You'll miss that. Yeah. We're all now back in 2024
Okay.
on any of
All
that.
right.
We can do the wishbone thing.
year.
That'd be the episode after Thanksgiving. The wishbone. Look what I got from the turkey.
All right, we're 12 minutes in. We have not talked about comics.
That's okay.
That's
We
all
don't need to
right.
talk about comics. We're going to talk about movies here in a minute.
Valid.
I have thoughts. Actually, we're not going to talk about movies. We're going to talk about the reaction to movies.
We'll talk comics.
We're going to talk about. Yeah. All right, let's talk about comics.
First up is G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, issue 301.
Or one, depending
Or one.
on your perspective.
It's the first issue from Skybound, but it is actually issue 301 from Larry Hama.
So this is continuing the G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero that Marvel put out in the 80s that I grew up on. And then IDW did for a number of years.
Yep.
And
now
so
Skybound.
this is not part of the Energon universe continuity. This is continuing the continuity of this book from the 80s. And I'll be honest, I had not read G.I. Joe in like 10 years. And I read this one just kind of on a whim. And it's definitely designed to be like you can jump in and read it and enjoy it because it's basically like a running fight kind of thing. But clearly some stuff happened in issue 300 or before that leans into this. Like I remember Serpentor being like a big deal bad guy when I was younger, and Zartan killed him. Well, now there's a new Serpentor Khan who is he's basically Genghis Khan as Serpentor. Not
the one from Star Trek.
Not that one. Which is weird because the original Serpentor was like Genghis Khan and like 30 other dudes from history. And this is just Genghis Khan with a snake hat.
And there's a nice little who's who.
Yep.
In the back.
For those of you who have not read G.I. Joe in a long time or ever. But I mean, it's solid. It's a solid, like, U.S. military force fighting terrorists kind of story, which is, that's G.I. Joe.
Wait, so there's a Snake Eyes, and then there's a Snake Eyes that wears a bandana?
Yeah, Snake Eyes, and then, like...
Snake Eyes Light?
What?
It says it's Sean Collins. It's literally the same picture of Snake Eyes,
but he has
a red bandana on.
I didn't notice that at all. Oh my god!
It's Snake Eyes and Snake Eyes Light.
Yeah, well,
I'm cooler than you.
He's
I have
sweaty.
A bandana.
He's sweaty Snake Eyes.
Sweaty
He just needs to keep the sweat out of his eyes.
Like, but why do you have a bandana wearing a full mask?
That is so that the rest of the Joes can tell them apart clearly.
I'm asking them. I'm sorry. This is where I usually am the one that brings up stuff. Just to like stop asking stupid comic book questions,
Nope.
and now I'm doing it.
Nope, this is
I'm moving on, man.
honestly, that's a good question.
I'm moving
Like,
on. It's
why does guy in a full mask have a bandana? I don't know.
Like at least the mask should have stopped here so he could have the bandana, right?
I feel like we need to email Larry Hama and be like, bruh, what is happening in this book?
Brett, we need to talk to you about the guy you represent. Brett, we need to talk to Larry because we have questions.
Yeah.
We have him on the show.
Evil twin. Yeah, I have no idea. I also have not read a G.I. Joe book.
It's been a while.
I probably haven't read one since the Marvel.
So
Books.
I've read every few years I'll pick up a G.I. Joe book and read it just because nostalgia. The last one I read,
affiliation.
yeah, he's a blood. The last one I read, IDW did this line where like basically the story arc was Cobra 1. And now G.I. Joe is like this underground organization. And
Is
I
that
read
the Mask one?
I don't remember.
I think Mask was in that.
Maybe. I only read the first issue and it was solid. It was decent. But like G.I. Joe is one of those books that sometimes has a hard time holding my attention. And by the time the second issue came out, I was like, nah, I don't care anymore. Which is a me problem, not a G.I. Joe problem.
You ready to move on?
Yeah. Yep.
I'm still stuck on the bandana. I need to move on, man. Next up is Superior Spider-Man #1, volume 38, #1.
Yeah, I don't know.
Does it even say anymore?
No, it's just Superior Spider-Man #1.
Man.
The important thing about this book is that Spider-Boy is in it, and he steals every scene because he's adorable, and I love him.
Yeah, there's no volume number in it.
No, there's not.
Oh, there you go.
So basically, we got a one-shot a month or so ago where Otto is trying to piece together the time that he was Spider-Man because he doesn't remember it. So he's
been cloned too much.
Yeah, he's evil again for reasons I don't really understand. And then in the Superior one-shot, they introduce a new villain who was one of his minions that he accidentally gave superpowers to and then locked her in a vault.
Yeah.
And then in the one shot, he was like, what's in this vault? Because I don't remember. And he let her out. And so like she shows up in this. But like Spider-Boy apparently was also like a sidekick to Superior Spider-Man. It's one of those weird stories where like this character shows up and he's like, no one knows who he is. And he's like, well, I've been around for years. And it's like, have you though? But he's fun. He reminds me of some of the better Silver Age Spider-Man stories where the villains are nonsense. The story arcs are just fun. So I
Enough, child.
Otto's a mean man.
So this is #1, but this isn't the new #1, right? This is the one shot, right?
No, this is #1.
Is this the
The
#1?
one
Okay.
shot came out a month ago. This
Oh,
is
I
the
don't
first
remember.
issue of the new series, which theoretically is spinning out of Dan Slott's Spider-Man book. He spun out. So Spider-Man ended, and then Spider-Boy and Superior Spider-Man spun out of it. So this is the first issue of
See,
that.
they left a thing. They let me decide what they're going to do next with the line, but
Yeah, I feel like
Like,
is that
I
where
don't-
you get people to sign it?
I don't know.
I don't
Like,
know.
do I need a pen if I put a date here? Is that when the next one comes out? I was just
It's magical.
like, yeah, why would you?
I don't know.
Seems odd.
It's some odd graphic design choices, but whatever. It's fine.
Ryan says it's not #1. It's just #1 in someone's heart.
That's also fair.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the next in something, right?
It's the Superior.
Oh, and Megan asked, is Amazing continuing as well, or is this in place of?
No, Amazing
Amazing.
is continuing. This has nothing to do with Amazing
No.
Spider-Man. This is a completely separate entity. Yeah. The Spider-Man series started off, it was going to be like a 6-issue miniseries.
Yeah.
And then it went on
To
12?
12?
12 issues.
I
Yeah.
think it was
So
12.
it was basically the sequel to Spider-Verse. It was called End of the Spider-Verse. And then it kept going longer than people anticipated.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Boy became like a popular character. So we got a spinoff with him. And Dan Slott's Superior Spider-Man was amazing. Pun intended. So
and
anyway,
next year we now get Spectacular Spider-Men.
yes.
So there'll be another Spider-Man book starting next year. Spectacular Spider-Men.
Yes, it's
With-
raining Spider-Man.
With Peter and Miles.
Hmm.
So I guess Miles keeps his book.
I don't know.
So I was a week behind. So I just noticed that, which I was sadly, that Scarlet Witch ended last week. Issue 10 was the final issue.
Was it? I haven't
Yeah.
read it yet.
So
Oh,
so issue 10 is the final issue.
is
but
that why Gregory was curled up in a fetal position
obviously,
crying?
yeah. So that
Okay,
was
that
yeah,
makes sense.
that
That makes
explained that whole day. I didn't know what was going on
Okay.
that day, but that was
Understandable.
yeah. So 10, but they're going to come out next year with the same creative team, but it's going to be Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver.
You know, I saw some promo art for that. And I didn't know what it was for.
Well, there you go. Now you
okay.
know.
No.
And
All right.
going back to this, knowing is half the battle.
It sure is.
Wow, you didn't see that coming at all,
I
did
did-
you?
I did. You got me on that. Yeah. You got
That's
me.
why I'm laughing. I'm like, wow, he didn't actually see that coming, which is really, which is really,
I'm a little slow today. Clearly.
yeah, clearly. All right. I'm going to talk about Geiger Ground Zero #1. So this is a 2-issue series coming from the Geiger that ended last year.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I
since
think it was
Geiger.
last year
Yeah.
that the original Geiger series ended.
Yeah.
And then they did the what was the military?
Junkyard Joe.
Junkyard Joe. Yeah. So Junkyard Joe is a part of this, but the reason I'm bringing this up is because this is technically the first issue with the Ghost Machine, the new Ghost Machine imprint at Image, with a whole group of people.
Yep.
So the new Ghost Machine connected universe with here. Let me show you all these people.
Yeah, it's a
It's
lot.
all these
It's
people.
a heck of a cast.
All these people here. So this is kind of the prequel that leads up to the actual first issue of Ghost Machine in January. It's a one shot in January. So, but I like Geiger. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know if you read.
I haven't read it.
So basically, the whole premise of Geiger is there was a nuclear war happened, and he got caught in it. But instead of it killing him, it basically infused him with
Nucleotrons.
it basically, and so he has to walk around with rods, and he can control his.
Oh, you know what? I think I did read a few issues of that, and I thought it was really good. And I was like, I'll read it when it gets collected, and then I never did.
Yeah, it's really good. I've enjoyed it, and I actually read
It's Jeff Johns, right?
yeah, it's Jeff Johns and Gary Frank. So
yeah, so the creative team is stellar.
So the creative team is So
yeah,
to be fair, when it came out, the main reason I got it is because Gary Frank was drawing it.
right.
I mean, Jeff Johns is a great writer, but I'm like, I don't really like Gary Frank's art. But then they have a lot of fun. Well, fun's not the right word for this, but they do a really good job telling a story. And so they kind of reintroduce Geiger in here with more background to build up this Ghost Machine universe is what they're doing.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to bring this up, because this is the first Ghost Machine book.
Yeah, like the
Ghost Machine.
the shared universes in
Machine.
in Image. They've got like multiples. There's the Radiant Black, which has a shared universe over several titles.
Yeah. But they're all Radiant something.
Yeah. And then, the Energon universe at Skybound with Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Void Rivals.
And this is more of this whole universe.
So it feels like pockets of Image, at least, are trying to be like more
Cohesive.
That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. Which in the early days of Image, like they tried to connect everything together, and it never really worked great. Like Shadowhawk and Savage Dragon crossed over, and then like at one point Madman and Savage Dragon crossed over.
We did.
But it never really worked great.
No.
But I'm basing this solely on what we've seen from the Energon universe with, was it 5 issues of Void Rivals and 2 issues of Transformers. And then I've read the first issue of Duke and seen some of the pages from Cobra Commander. Like, the people at Image really are doing a good job making cohesive universes out of various titles.
I haven't read the Duke yet.
It was pretty good.
I have read Transformers 3, though.
I have not read that. I accidentally deleted that email and need to go dig it out so that I can read it.
It was so good. So anyway, Geiger starts off the Ghost Machine.
Yep.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh, she's going. Tessa's got a theme song.
It called to me.
And next up is Superman Lost number 8, right?
Yep. Was
8?
it 8 of 10?
8 of 10. So we are down to 2 issues of a book that I think I like.
Same.
I'm 8 issues in, and I
Yeah,
think I like it.
I'm gonna finish it, but like this issue in particular, I was kind of like, what is happening?
The time jumps in here in this one wasn't as bad.
But I like one of the things that has really kind of thrown me through the series is they jump back and forth with me now and some point in the past.
And some point in the future.
Yeah. And they don't give you references. They're just like, we're gonna tell the story. The art's the same, storytelling's the same,
Characters are the same.
Yeah, figure it out. And sometimes, not so much in this issue, but in previous issues, I've been like, what? Wait, where are we? What's happening? But basically,
And Luther sure does help.
Yeah, Lex is
It's the most evil Lex I've seen in a very long time.
yeah.
Is in this book.
Basically, Superman was gone for 20 years. For him, it was 20 years. For Lois, it was minutes. And he now has come home with a 1,000-yard stare that a lot of combat veterans come back with, and he's not himself. And she is trying to figure out how to get him back to normal. And in the last issue or the issue before, she goes to Lex for help, and he's like, "I got you, girl. Here's some cancer. You have cancer now." And she's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, this will wake old Superboy up. He will come and try to fight me." And this issue, he's just like, why hasn't he come after me yet? Well, I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah.
And it's because Lois hasn't told him. And he's so distracted that he hasn't noticed.
So Brian, I think on this book, the thing that keeps you coming back is even though I think there's some confusion jumping in the time period, you get the overall feel of the book and what the story is, and you want to know what happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Superman's broken in a way that you don't usually see Superman.
Yeah.
Right. It's not like he's beaten by a villain. It's not like he's, killed by whatever villain of the week. He's broken by years away from Lois.
Yeah.
Away from Earth, but he's then broken by there's a planet that he lived at for 20 plus years. And he wants to get back there because they were on the verge of what Krypton was going through.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to try to stop it. And so that's breaking him. And he doesn't know how to come back from either place, right? Because he's been away from Lois for 20 years. So how does he reconnect with her?
Yeah.
And remember that we've talked about it before. So you may not remember, but for Lois, it was only 15 minutes.
Yeah.
For Superman, it was 20 years.
And
for Lois, it was 15 minutes.
And this is one of those books I a lot of times Superman I can't really get a handle on because like God comes to Earth and does stuff is not a character that resonates with me. But this is a very human feeling Superman. Like he still has all his powers and all that stuff, but he's going through the same emotional turmoil that one of us would go through if we were in this particular instance. So I have really enjoyed watching Superman deal with emotions and struggle with things the same way that the rest of us do.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, he needs a journal.
Yeah.
I think he probably has one in here. And then we have Scrapper, number 5.
Scrapper.
I read the first issue of this because there was a dog on the cover. Like, no idea what it was about. I was like, oh, there's a dog. I will read this.
So this is also takes place in the far future, where, believe it or not, there's an evil corporation.
And they run the whole country?
Yes.
How weird.
It is weird. And they are really trying to kill all the riffraff.
Yeah.
Meaning people. That is below them.
Yeah.
And using animals to do it. But one animal escapes and he's trying to stop it. See, I'm intentionally vague here, but this book has been really good.
It has been. Is this the next to last issue?
Yes. It's only issue 6.
Yeah, there's one more issue left. And a lot of times with indie number ones, I'll read the number 1 and be like, oh, that's a cool story. And then I'll forget about it. But with this one, every month when it comes out, I'm like, ooh, Scrapper. I can't wait to read this.
So it's kind of like Madness.
Yeah.
Madness is the first, like it's
also.
literally the first thing.
Yeah.
Well, actually, we got a preview of that like 2 weeks ago, so that's when I read it.
Oh, okay.
And then we got a preview of the.
Yeah, I haven't. I've been reading that as it comes out. I haven't been reading the emails, the PDFs and stuff.
I couldn't help it.
Yeah,
It
I
popped up
understand.
and it went Madness. Like I'm reading that. That
Yeah.
book is brutal.
It is.
That is
yeah.
brutal.
So basically, like a super powered, like a villain, who she's
A Robin Hood villain.
yeah, Robin Hood villain. She steals from
It
the
goes
rich.
more into that in this last.
Yeah,
issue.
yeah. It was this issue that came out this week was a lot. It was the most text heavy issue of it so far. But she's got like one last score, and then she and the love of her life and his kids are gonna just like go off and live their life, and then they get murdered by the heroes.
Yeah.
So now she's on a revenge killing spree. Like, imagine if John Wick was a super powered person and someone killed his wife and children.
Yes. None of these books are once in future. Don't worry about it.
Man.
They're really, really good. Madness is really, really good, but they're
It
not
is.
once in future.
But Madness is one of those books. So like, it's a very specific. It's a revenge story. So like, if you don't like that kind of story, it's not gonna hit for you the way it does for other people.
Yeah.
Whereas Once in Future just felt like, man, everybody can enjoy this.
Yeah. The books are just so different on that level, but it's which we'll quickly talk about. Tess read my favorite book of all time.
Oh my god, I did.
So most people know that my favorite book is Midnight Nation. And it is also a Straczynski, Gary Frank book, which Straczynski's who's writing Madness, which is
Right.
probably has a lot of that
Yeah.
tie into it. But Straczynski and Gary Frank is who created Midnight Nation. And I finally talked Tess into reading it, and Tess loved it.
It's the only thing I've been able to think about since I finished it. It has consumed my every waking moment.
So
Oh my God.
I will tell you, on your scale of 1 to once and future, I would probably put Midnight Nation a little bit above Once and Future for me.
Now, I haven't read it in like 10 years. So it's about time for me to go back and reread it.
Like it is literally my favorite book of all time. It is deep. It is a very deep book. There's lots of stuff that
So
goes
many
on in that
layers.
book. So
So
it is.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I was very happy that Tess actually read something that I loved,
Yes.
and she loved it.
You feel accomplished?
I do. I was very happy because when I saw that you had finished reading it,
Mhm.
Jacqueline goes, "Well, I wonder if she actually liked it." So she went out and looked at your rating. She goes, "I know where she rates her books at." I'm like, all right. So she went out, she goes, "She gave it 5 stars." I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
I didn't see that coming."
Oh my god.
Are you talking about Midnight Nation, Brian?
Yeah, Midnight Nation.
Midnight Nation.
It's
yeah.
so good. Please go read it.
We keep it in stock.
Yeah. I talk about it a lot.
There's a trade paperback, and then there's like a slipcase hardcover.
Yeah.
We keep them because Philip hand sells that book constantly. So we have copies in the store all the time.
Yes, I love that book.
Yeah.
So I read that book at least once a year. It's one of my books that I read pretty much every year. It's only 12 issues. It is a 12 issue, well, and a Wizard 1/2 if you read the trade, but the Wizard 1/2 has got its own little twist.
Yeah.
It's a standalone.
I forgot about that one.
Because someone else is lost. But anyway, I wanted to bring that up
Yes.
just because I did feel good.
Like, yay! Yay!
I read other people's books all the time because they like stuff. So I'm like, somebody likes my stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's how once again, like I told you, that's how I got Jacqueline into reading comics because it's not all about superheroes.
Like when people over the years, I think the book I've recommended the most to people who are like, I don't really like comics, but I want to try it and see. I think Fables is the one that I've recommended the most to people who are not into comics.
Right.
The characters are recognizable. The story and art are superb. So it's a really good jumping in to get a feel for comics. But
yeah, that's like we talked about, like Jacqueline before. I knew what she liked, right? So Gotham Central was a good one for her to go down because it took place in a superhero universe, but there's no superheroes.
Right. Batman's in it for like an issue, and everybody's like, "Ugh, you're the worst."
I mean, that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah.
So, anyway. My God.
There's sirens outside. They're coming for Tess.
Didn't know the Kroger's on fire again.
No. Man, I did not need to wake up this morning to hear that. It's not. Jacqueline comes running downstairs. Here. Like, what do you mean the Kroger's on fire?
At least it didn't get to this end.
No, it didn't get to this end.
I'm like, I went to Kroger earlier and it seemed fine.
Yeah. It stayed all in the back corner.
Oh, okay.
So their electrical stuff's in that back corner.
Well, I guess that's why like there was a bunch of extra trucks and it's a mess.
Yeah.
And
they've been repairing the roof all day, and ServPro has been down there all day having to clean everything out.
Yeah, coming around behind there today was a mess. It was just so much stuff going on back there.
Brian asks, but like, where would you rank Superman Lost? A 5 or a Once in Future?
A 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be a 5.
Yeah.
Which is a valid for.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I said, it's good. It's just there's some confusing parts in it, but the story is still compelling, right? Like I've read every issue, right? Like I haven't like there's books that I read that I'm like, oh, that was good, and I never go back.
Every week I read something. I'm like, oh, that was really good. I'll read the next issue, and then the next issue comes out, and I get busy and I just don't read it.
But like Superman Lost, I've read every issue. Like when it comes out, I'm like, no, I'm reading this. Like I
want to say it was legitimately the first book I read this week because I was like, oh, I want to see what's going on.
Actually, it was. Yeah, it was my first book that I read this week too.
Yeah,
and it's like, still. So it's like it's just one of those weird books that, like, is it going to knock your socks off and go like, wow, I'm going to go tell everyone? Probably not. Is it a solid story? Sure.
Yeah.
Like the writing of it and the premise of it is good enough where I don't think it fails. The premise doesn't fail. Like I said, the time jumps is a little. I wish they would have done something to explain that, but I feel like it's part of what he's trying to do is to keep you guessing on what's the future, what's the present, and what's the past.
Yeah, I'm interested. Like, I will probably, once it's all done, sit down and read it in one sitting.
It will probably make way more sense.
I think it will be one of those books that, like, sitting down and reading the whole thing at once it'll work better, I think.
So Brian says, I need an unfiltered rating system. Like, does Tommy give it 2 thumbs up, or does he use it for betting on his mat in the back?
I only use books that I give 2 thumbs up as betting. Because when I wake up in the middle of the night and turn over, I want to read something good. It's just a big pile of Ultimate Spider-Man right now.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan on ratings. Like when we started the Watson review, we did ratings, and then we kind of like it didn't work for us because there's not much that I don't actually like, right? Like it's got to be
It's got to be bad.
It's got to be bad, and even then, and
They
I
tried.
and I think the reason,
Yeah.
right? Well, here's the thing. I think that the reason is I see grown adults read like a book designed for a 5-year-old,
And then
and
hate
they
it.
give it like 2 stars.
It's not meant
Yeah.
for you.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, how can you read this book and give that book 2 stars? Like, that makes no sense. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
And just like what Brian said earlier, it's always a 5-star in someone else's heart.
Right, exactly. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It's 100%. Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah,
Mhm.
like most scales is 1 to 5, and I'm like,
That's-
well, I mean, if you get a 3, that means that you really enjoyed it, right?
Mhm.
Like that's the
So
whole
that's
way
why I
it's
like.
supposed to work.
I think one of the video game ratings is 1 to 100. I think that is, you give it a grade like 1 through 100.
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah,
that
that seems like
Still-
work.
that is.
I still would be like, this is 100. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Right? Yeah, like that's
Everything I don't hate. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's
And honestly, that's kind of our rating system. Is like we like it or we don't talk about it.
right. Yeah.
Like those are
Yeah.
the ratings.
Because usually my thing is I have people come in here all the time and sit there going, man, I love this book. And I'm like, man, that's really great. And I'm like, man, that book was awful.
Yeah.
Or it just wasn't for me. I've never said awful.
and that's the thing. Like most of the time when I don't enjoy a book, it's not because it's bad. It's because it's not for me,
exactly.
and that's fine. That's fine.
It's
Not everything.
it's our whole Harry Potter conversation earlier.
Yeah.
Not everything has to be for me.
Mhm.
So
Yes. So 1 is a Ninja Turtle dies, and 100 is Jean Grey dies again.
they don't even have to die. No, 1 is Donatello gets his shell broken, which was a traumatic
Man,
event
that
from
was-
my
yeah,
childhood.
that was really brutal.
It was.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Let me tell you the original story of Metalhead.
Oh my God. Ooh, ooh. That was rough.
Yeah, that was pretty rough.
Ugh.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we are getting close out of time. I'll let you talk about your thing.
All right. So I went over the weekend and saw the Marvels.
Not a order.
And there is a lot of negative talk about this movie on the internet. The movie flopped at the box office when compared to other Marvel movies. It's the highest grossing movie for an African American female director of all time. Just throwing that out there. Just put it out there. And I think the reason that this movie did not do so well, it was a perfect storm of a lot of different things. One of the things is that we're living in a time of economic uncertainty, and a family of 4 going to movies is $75. Like that's an investment to go out to the movies. It's difficult, especially because most of us have Disney Plus accounts, and we know the movie's going to be on Disney Plus eventually anyway. No matter how much fun it was, which let me tell you, it's the most fun I've had in the theater in a long time. Another thing,
Shang-Chi level fun?
yes, I would say it's more fun than Shang-Chi.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. I won't say it's a better movie than Shang-Chi. I will say it's more
We had
fun.
a bus chase and
He did. He
we had a
did.
bus chase in Shang-Chi.
Um,
So come on, man. And a dragon.
Goose has kittens. I'm just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there. So we just came off of a writer strike and an actor strike. And all of the people on social media, on TikTok and YouTube and Facebook and everything, who were positive towards Marvel properties went silent in solidarity with the unions.
And there was no red carpets for it.
No, there was no red carpets. There was no promotion. None of the stars went out and did any promotion for it.
No.
However, the people that like to say all of the negative things, they didn't shut up the whole time. They have been very anti the Marvels, anti Brie Larson for whatever reason. I don't know why people hate
I
her.
love Brie Larson.
I do too. She's amazing. And in this movie, she gets a way. I love the first Captain Marvel. This movie has a better script. She's given more to do, and she gets to emote in ways that she wasn't allowed in the first movie because of the story.
All the flirkins.
Yes. Oh, so many flirkins. They're so cute. So, and like, Quantumania wasn't the best film. Secret Invasion, in my opinion, I don't like to be negative. In my opinion, I think Secret Invasion is the worst Disney Plus series that they've done. Now, having said that, Phoebe and I were talking yesterday or day before yesterday. I'm going to go back and rewatch Secret Invasion because it was supposed to come out after the Marvels. So a lot of the tone of that show was confusing to me. And now after the Marvels, I think it might make more sense. So I'm kind of excited to go back and rewatch this thing that I didn't particularly enjoy because I think it will make more sense now. Anyway, if you haven't seen the Marvels, go see it. It's phenomenal. I'm hoping that word of mouth, because everyone that I know who has seen the movie has been like, "Oh my God, the movie was so good." And then everyone who wasn't going to go see the movie anyway is being super loud on the internet about how terrible it is.
Well, I love the Marvels.
Yeah.
What? What?
What?
I mean, I just figured. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I figured
Yeah.
if people could hate it without seeing it, I can love it without seeing it.
Absolutely.
I mean,
absolutely.
I understand now.
So,
I mean, number one, it's got Brie Larson in it, so
so for me personally, I love stories about teenagers. Like coming of age stories are one of the things I love.
the views expressed here are on Tommy
It's
and,
all me, 100% me. I love teen angst.
and do not reflect those.
So for me, Ms. Marvel is my favorite thing that Marvel has put on film to date. I love it. It has overtaken Guardians of the Galaxy as my favorite Marvel property on film. I absolutely love it. And Ms. Marvel steals every scene she's in. She is the star of this movie. And that might be one of the reasons I love it so much. Because it's not just her, like her mom and her dad and her brother are in it, and they are hilarious. They're so much fun. So anyway, ignore all of the negativity you see online. If you have the chance, go see the movie. I have not gone back for a repeat performance of a movie since before the pandemic, I think, and I think I'm gonna go see this movie again.
Brian says, movies by Tommy. For Tommy, for the Tommy in you.
Yes, yes,
Right.
yes. I think they should put that on the DVD. Yeah.
And speaking of Brie Larson, one of my favorite things comes out this week.
Yeah.
Scott Pilgrim
Oh,
on
yes!
Netflix.
I forgot that was
Anime
coming.
is
Oh,
this
yeah.
week.
Yeah.
Friday, right? Friday.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for me, man, tough. Because I will be watching me some Scott Pilgrim. Whatever they drop, I will be watching.
Yeah. I'm really excited for
Because
that.
I am so excited.
Yeah. I love that
For-
movie. I
for
love
Scott
the comic. God, it's so good.
Yes, it's anime. The entire cast from the movie is
Mhm.
actually voicing all of their characters in the anime. And it's
Awesome.
done. Everything's done. They are ready to go. So it's going to be, we're basically going to get the full book series
Yeah.
and anime form.
so excited.
So I am so excited. I am overly excited. So wrapped up Ted Lasso last weekend.
Yep.
And now it's time for Scott Pilgrim. I love that movie. I love Scott Pilgrim.
I do too.
I mean, the book is great. I love the
Yeah.
book, and then the movie I watch all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid this anime is going to end up being something I watch
Yep.
all the time. It's right up there with Josie and the Pussycats.
Oh, Josie the Pussycats. I love it so much.
Yeah. Scott Pilgrim is probably better, but the tone and feel
Yeah.
of how it's set up is so well done.
Josie and the Pussycats is one of those movies that's like surprisingly intelligent.
That's
it-
what the problem was.
It does a really good job of looking stupid while being really smart.
It is one of the smartest books.
God, it's so good.
I gave y'all an extra 5 minutes.
What?
Oh, thanks.
You're
Oh,
welcome.
that was so kind of you.
I know.
Wow.
You should appreciate me.
Man, thank you, Tess.
You are so welcome.
I think that means that she wants us to go.
Yeah, she's quietly mouthing, "Shut up! Stop it!"
That's probably because Jacqueline's probably texting her over there. Will you get them to shut up so we can?
Jacqueline's like, "I need food right now."
All right, everybody, we will go. We will be back next week with our Thanksgiving special, which Will be a lot of test dancing in the background while Tommy and I talk.
You're welcome.
Gobble, gobble.
Gobble, gobble.
See you later. Bye.